935 K-Day, welcome back to Sundays in LA. It is me, Miss Corey Renee, and I am here with another great episode. And today, because y'all know I am born and raised in LA, so we're going to keep it West Coast because we're the best cops, okay? Today's guest is Reason. Hi.
Hey, how you doing?
Hi. Thank you so much for being here.
Of course. Yeah.
Thank you. I really appreciate it. You know, this is like our first interaction.
Yes.
So
yeah.
I'm going to be real transparent with you. My only intention is to actually get to know you.
Oh, that's way better than like the typical, you know what I mean, interview of everything else. So
you
yeah,
feel
no, that
me?
works. Yeah,
like that's just where I'm at with it. So just a little bit about me.
Mm-hmm.
I am born and raised in LA. I live in Inglewood, California by way of West LA.
Got you. So you grew up in West LA.
Yeah.
Okay.
I grew up in West LA, but I've been in Inglewood for about like 13 years now.
So question, why do people separate West LA from Inglewood?
Oh, you really want to know? Are we going there already?
I want to understand, like, because they're both West LA to me. Like, yeah, but people that are from there, like, specifically, like, they will either say West LA or they will say Inglewood. And I always wonder, like, why do you guys separate it?
Well, logistically, Inglewood has its own city hall. It has, like, as far as voting goes, like, Inglewood is its own entity.
Got you.
So that's first. And then as far as just like
black people stuff.
Right. West LA is West LA because we keep the West there because we're closest to the ocean. Yeah. So that makes us a little bit more seditier. That makes us feel like we're a little bit more cultured as it relates to diversity, I think.
Got you. Yeah.
So I know that's what it is for me.
Yeah, no, I just always wondered that. But that actually makes a lot more sense because Inglewood is like closer to like the center city of LA. You know what I mean? Like you can almost live like in South Central in Inglewood, or you can live all the way. Yeah, so I get what you're saying.
Okay, so I see, because you know I was gonna test you and your LA-ness. You know what I'm saying?
I've been all over the place in LA.
I see you grew up in Carson, California. I grew up in Carson,
right? Yeah. But before that, I was in South Central. So I was in South Central until I was the age of 7, then moved to Carson. However, my family, we owned 6 houses on 57th on the same exact street. So even when I moved to Carson, I was still like back and forth because all of my family was in South Central. So I used to get out of school, still go to South Central, be there until like 7:30, 8 at night, and then go to Carson, unless I was like in sports at the time.
Really?
So even while I was in Carson, I was in South Central every single day. So I've kind of like saw both sides of it. Yeah.
That's so interesting.
Yeah, it was different. Especially seeing like my cousins and the difference that was part of like why I named the album Porches, is because it was just the difference between what a porch can do. Because my cousins, who I'm super close with, the stuff that they were involved in that I was no longer involved in because I grew up in Carson, I saw the difference in when we were like getting older, just from literally my mom taking us out of this and putting us over here.
That's so crazy, because that was going to be my question.
Same influences, we talk the same, we walk the same, we got the same mindset. It's just that I don't do certain things that they do because of that.
So what was the biggest difference between Carson and South Central for you?
The biggest difference is that, like, so for example, there was a lot of big differences. Like, I never was able to play outside in South Central. It was too dangerous. So the first chance I got to play outside, learn how to ride a bike, anything like that, was when I went to Carson. Also, like, the influences, like in South Central, my best friend, he used to like run drugs for his pops. So like he was the one that would like go from the crib to the car and stuff like that, because like ain't no cop gonna say nothing to a kid. And my cousins used to do it. You know what I mean? Like my auntie used to send me at like literally like 6, 7 years old, used to send me around the corner to buy cigarettes. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like
That's wild.
So it's like not doing that. It's like already a big difference between, you know what I'm saying, like growing up in Carson and then of course like Carson, they had this dangerous pockets, but you were able to just live more. Like I was able to get out and just roam and ride my bike and make friends and go to my friends' house, where it's like any friends that I had in South Central, they were either on that block or I couldn't go there, because it's like they're not about to let me just go wherever of it. It's too dangerous, especially that was in the 90s, especially in the 90s. So
facts.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Dang.
Yeah, it was a lot. Yeah.
So interesting. I know that you also play basketball going to high school and things like that.
Yeah.
What'd you play?
I played point guard. I wasn't tall enough to play nothing else.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Don't do
I
yourself
played point
like
guard.
that.
So yeah.
Wait, okay.
But yeah, I played all high school and in college. Yeah.
Nice.
That was how I paid for my my college tuition and stuff like that.
Okay. So I guess my biggest question between basketball and then transitioning into music, how did that happen?
So I was in. I got a scholarship to play in Iowa. I was at a small D2 out there called Northwestern State in Iowa, and I went through a lot of identity issues. I went from being, before I left there, I didn't have one My bad. I'm sorry. I had one white relationship in my entire life, like when I was out here in California. You know what I mean? I only knew blacks and Mexicans. That's all I knew. Okay. So I'm saying that to say it was a culture shock going from that to Iowa, where I was one of 4 black kids in the school. It was like a culture shock. And so I found myself trying to figure out where I fit in that without losing myself. And so before I left here to go on a scholarship, me and the homies, we still do sometimes, but we used to throw like house parties. So we threw
those are the best.
Yeah, so we used to throw a free house party, but we threw this house party. This is the first one that we charged with, and it got way too out of hand. However, I made enough money to buy myself a laptop, and so I bought myself a MacBook. And the first mixtape that I made out there was just being bored. I was in Orange City, Iowa. Me and my brother, we made a mixtape series called Bored in Orange City. So it was BIOC, and so we was just rapping. We was just like rapping about, Wayne was my favorite rapper, so I was just rapping about drugs and women and a bunch of stuff that I wasn't doing, but it was just fun. Like I was just, but through that, I started to fall in love with like writing. And then once I started going through personal stuff out there in Iowa, I started writing about those things. I made a couple songs and I showed my brother, because I wasn't big on like just telling people what I was going through. And he was like, A, I didn't know you was going through all of this. B, like, you should really do this. This is really fire. You know what I mean? And so I kind of did that for maybe like my last senior semester. I was supposed to go to Greece and play basketball, and I literally called my agent and told him like I'm not going. And
what?
I just came back home and started rapping. But I did it with a different mindset, because I went to school for business. So I didn't do it like every other person in LA rapping, where they just come in, put out music and tell the homies I came back looking for PR companies, looking for marketing. How can we make ourselves different? You know what I mean? How do I invest? So I came in with a different mindset, and I feel like that's why I kind of took off a little bit faster than like the average person that just start rapping in their garage or whatever the case. So yeah.
I love that. So when it comes to like your musical influences, I know you mentioned Lil Wayne.
Yeah.
Is there anyone else that you can name?
For sure. So like I kind of separate them. I grew up off Wayne, Jay-Z, Fabulous. I was a big Cassidy fan, which is crazy now, because I used to argue with the homies about I used to die on the hill that Cassidy was better than Lil Wayne, which is crazy now that I think about it in hindsight. And that's not a knock to Cass. Shout out to Cass. But at the time, I would be willing to die on the hill for that. You know what I mean? But those are kind of my influences growing up. But like I said, I didn't even know they were influences, because they were just people I listened to. You know what I mean? I didn't know I was doing music at the time. But then when I started actually doing music, my influences was Kendrick, Cole, Wale, Boogie. Even though he's in my class, he was still one of my biggest influences. He was like my favorite West Coast rapper for a long time, still like top 3, but he was like my absolute favorite for like 5 or 6 years or whatever. So yeah, probably like those 4 for the most part. Yeah,
put a pin in Boogie, because we're gonna come back to him. I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
That's my dog. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about your freshman album, Black Panther. A lot of your influences you ended up actually working with to some form or another. Yeah. I mean, Denzel Curry. You also had Absol, Rhapsody. I mean, Vince Staples. Come on. How did all of these relationships come about in this project?
Or New Beginners?
On your freshman album.
Yeah, New Beginners. Yeah. Okay, got you. Yeah, so
wait, what's Black Panther?
So Black Panther was the soundtrack. So Kendrick did the Kendrick did the soundtrack, and I was featuring on it. That was the first album that kind of like got me recognition, because it was the soundtrack for the movie, and it was based with a lot of African artists.
Nice.
And so everybody at first thought that I was just like an African artist named Reason that kind of came out of nowhere, because they didn't know who I was. And then when they found out that I was from Carson and like in this area, like my name just kind of took off. Yeah, exactly. Nice. It just kind of took off. So
you became
that was
relatable.
Huge. Yeah, exactly.
I love that.
So then after that, though, it led to New Beginnings, which was my freshman album. So yeah, it really just came from, honestly, like when my name started circulating, I was just like fans of all the people that was reaching out to me just to show love. And so when they would reach out to me to show love, I would just basically shoot my shot and build a relationship with them and be like, yo, like I've been a fan of yours forever. Like I'm working on my album. You know, can you pull up? And a lot of times, you know, people would be busy or have different things. But I'm one of them people, I say it all the time, like I'm not an artist with a lot of pride. Like if I want you on my album, I'm gonna blow your phone up about it. You either gonna get tired of me or not want to talk to me at all.
Whatever.
You know what I'm saying? Like, or you gonna be like, yo, like, you know, I might, you know, rock with dude. And a lot of times they would end up rocking with me because they would be like, okay, this isn't just an industry thing where people be like, oh, yo, bro, we should work. It's like, nah, he's actually persistent about this, you know what I mean? And so with Rhapsody, I was a late Rhapsody fan because I didn't really know about her before Layla's Wisdom. But then when she dropped that album, I was just like obsessed with her music for like 6 months or whatever. And so I was on tour and she reached out to me and I called her and I had just, the week that she reached out to me, the week before that, I had just written a song about her and it's on that album. It's called Fall. And I was just like, I just want to send you this verse. Like I only got one verse for the song. It's not done yet, but I wrote it about you and it was about women in the industry and trying to navigate that without having to sell sex and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? And it was inspired by Rhapsody. And so she heard that verse. She called me back and literally told me like she almost cried listening to it. And
I'm almost crying just hearing you talk about it. I'm like, bro, I know. Like,
and we was just locked in after that. And so then when I ended up hitting her for a record, it was kind of a no-brainer. Vince showed a lot of love right off the back. Vince was a surprise because I'm like, I didn't know Vince from a can of paint. Like, and
I'm like, how are you making these happen?
It was just love. Like, I literally reached out to him. I was like, bro, you fire as an artist. I've been a fan, and you're hilarious. Like, and I sent him a record, and literally, like, maybe in a couple weeks, he just sent it back, and it was just love, like, right off the back. Like, so I got a high respect for Vince because there's not often in this industry that you don't really have a relationship with somebody, and they just show love like that, especially at his stature. Like, Vince is a big deal, you know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so, and then Ab-Soul, he from Carson, that was almost like like, I wasn't going to put out an album without Ab-Soul. Like, I legitimately told, like, TD that, like, until me and Ab get one that goes on it, like, I'm not going to put this album out unless I have Ab-Soul, because being a kid from Carson, that was, like, a dream of mine. So all the features, they kind of just, like, organically happened like that, to be honest with you. It was kind of crazy.
That is freaking beautiful.
Yeah,
like, because your story isn't like others, or it's not something that happens very often, like you stated. So for it to be able to just kind of seamlessly take place the way it is, that should let you know that you're on the right path and you're onto something pretty special. Yeah,
I definitely count my blessings on that because I know it's not the normal story of an artist. I know there's people that's been doing this since they were 10 years old, you know what I mean? Like, and I didn't have that story, so I'm grateful for everything and how it's worked out.
Absolutely. So we're going to move forward. We're trucking along. Life is happening. And now we're on to your sophomore album.
Yes.
Porches, right?
Yes, Porches.
Okay.
Yeah.
Between these two albums, what do you think Porches represents differently from your freshman album?
So it's funny, like, Porches is my sophomore, but I kind of, like, look at it like my freshman album in a way, because Porches was the album that, like, so, like, while I was making New Beginnings, I was also, like, making Porches. I was coming up with the idea of what I wanted to, the story that I wanted to tell. And so the album was originally called Stories of the Forgotten, and I knew that it was going to be called that even while I was working on New Beginnings. So I say that because New Beginnings I kind of made for the fans. So I was like, okay, this is like a celebration. Like, any fan that's been rocking with me for a long time, any fan that's been a TDE fan for a long time, I want to give them the album that they want. So even down to the features and me getting JID and Isaiah Rashad on the same song, I knew fans wanted that. So I did that. Getting Ab-Soul to come back outside because he had been kind of missing for a while, I knew fans wanted that. Getting Schoolboy Q to come back outside for a while because I knew fans wanted that. So I made that album with the fans in mind. And so Porches, when I turned around and did that, that was like, okay, now I get to tell my story. I get to talk about where I come from. I get to talk about my homies and how I was influenced and why I talk the way I talk, why I handle situations the way I handle it. So even though it is my sophomore album, the difference in them is that Porches is my complete story, whereas New Beginnings was like, I want to give y'all, like, what will be your favorite album from any TDE artist on their debut. And so that's what I was kind of like going for, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. And you just finished not too long ago the tour itself, right?
Yes, it was amazing. Yeah, it was incredible.
What was the most favorite moment?
Man, so LA was amazing, but I always try to choose a city outside of LA because I know I'm going to get love in LA. So it's kind of like, it was amazing, but it was expected. But Atlanta, like, I always tell people, like, when you make, like, quote unquote hip hop conscious music, majority of your fans are gonna be whites and Mexicans. Those are gonna be, because it's hard to get black people to come out the house. Let's just be real. Like, black people can be the biggest fan of you, but to get them to gas up a car and pay money for a ticket, you know what I mean? Like, it's one of the hardest things in the world. So to see, we sold out Atlanta like I want to say it was like 350 people, all black. That was the craziest thing I ever, because I was nervous about Atlanta because I'm like, man, it's all black people in Atlanta. Ain't nobody coming to this. You know what I mean? Like, ain't nobody coming to this show.
I know we love each other, but
man,
I don't know.
but Houston, Dallas, and Atlanta, all three of those cities showed a lot of love, and it was like a build up. Like Dallas was really dope. We had a good turnout. Houston was even better turnout, and then Atlanta was just like sold out, packed, wall to wall. Like it was kind of like the best experience I could ever have because it's like I value all of my fans. I love all of my fans, but the stories that I'm telling are from the black perspective. So to see so many black people connect with it so much that they come out the house, which black people never do, that was like the most rewarding feeling that I could ever get.
One thing that I would want to go on record to say is that I think that if you don't already have a relationship, Deanii, he came on not too long ago.
That's my dog. Yeah. I just started building a relationship with Deanii maybe like 2 to 3 months ago, but we talk like damn near every day because we're in like this group chat.
Continue that.
Yeah.
Because I feel like you guys are kind of in the same vein.
1000%.
And he's been able to kind of penetrate an audience of all black people.
Nah, that's real.
Not only in engagement, but authenticity. Like they really rock with
they really
him.
do. They really do. He's like the champion of that. You know what I mean? Like, no, for sure. Yeah, Deanii, that's my dog. He's super, super talented. And we, like I said, we're in this group chat. But one thing I'm super proud of him for is being able to like kind of set up his own legacy outside of his father.
Come on.
You get what I'm saying? Because his dad made trap music, you know what I mean? And for him to not even remotely engage in that, you know what I mean, which he could easily do that and they would accept him. For him to just be like, nah, I'm gonna do this way, like I have a lot of admiration and appreciation for him, you know what I mean, taking those steps. So,
yes.
Yeah, that's my homie. Yeah.
And you just like said it so like great.
Yeah,
like,
that's my dog. Like,
any better.
Yeah, I'm super proud of everything that he's been able to do. Like, he's fire.
And I appreciate you just showing another black man love. Thank you.
No, of course.
On the flip side of tour and life, what do you think was more on the challenging side of the Porches tour?
Just being on a tour and like I pretty much like me and my team ran the whole tour. Like it wasn't like I was on tour with anybody that's done 5 or 6. Like I was probably the most experienced person with being on tour. And so just running a tour successfully without having the experienced person there that's been on 5 or 6 or 7 tours, that was the most challenging part. Like we ran into like the Sprinter got broken into. We had to navigate that. Yeah, like they broke the windows and we had to, and stole some stuff. We had to navigate that. Planning it out, getting from city to city, making sure that you have enough time when you get to the city, but also making sure you're not at the city too early where you're just sitting there for 12 hours and trying to kill time until you can, get into your hotel. It's a lot more than what fans would think it is as far as just like, oh, he shows up and does a show. It's like, it's actual work. It's even a conversation I have to have with the homies because they'll pull up to shows. And for them, this is a night out. They celebrate, they here, they drunk and everything. I'm like, I'm still working right now. You know what I mean? Like I'm working from the moment I get to the city, doing the meet and greet and making sure that the merch is set up right and making sure that the show goes the way that it goes. And then even after the show, I make sure I always take like another hour and a half to spend with my fans and take pictures and whatnot. All of that, like I'm usually not done until, I usually start around 3. I'm usually not done until like after midnight because after we get off a stage, now I'm engaging with the fans, you know what I mean? And then we're right back on the road 2 hours later. So I just think the whole logistics of it was the hardest part. And then also I had never done hour sets back to back, and so I didn't know. Like I didn't work out and train the way I should have worked out and trained.
Come on, conditioning.
Yeah, coming into tour. Like so, every single show I started dying out around like the 40-minute mark, and so the fans couldn't see it, but I had to mentally tell myself, keep pushing through, have the same energy. So that was something I learned was like never get like anytime I come in a tour, I gotta be. It made me have a whole different appreciation for Beyonce. Like Beyonce she's not a human being. Like she's not. 3-hour show. She don't even be sweating. And I know she got the fans and stuff. But still, like you know what I mean. Like yeah, I don't think Beyonce is an actual.
She's an extraterrestrial, beautiful entity.
Exactly. That's the best word. She's an entity. Like she wasn't born the same way the rest of us was born. Nah, it's not.
Not on the West. Not in LA. I love that. Okay, so we here at 935 K-Day, speaking of stages, concerts, music, We have what's called Crush Groove 2024.
Okay.
And that's going down at the Kia Forum.
Fire.
It's going to be Exhibit. It's going to be Ice Cube, Dub C, and, you know, J-Rock, TDE's J-Rock is going to be there. Me, personally, I like to try to, like, facilitate stuff. We want to talk about logistics and what have you. I mean, you're from L.A., you know, it's that special guest at the bottom or whatever. You're cool with J-Rock.
Yeah.
Would you ever, like, be down if that were to be an opportunity to say, you know, pull up with J-Rock, maybe do a couple of songs as well to represent for the West Coast?
No, 1,000%. And me and Rock, we have a couple, I want to say we have 2 songs out. I always get confused because we got like 15 songs that we've done that are not out. But no, I would definitely love to do that. If it makes sense for his set album, like that's, no brainer.
Okay, good. Yeah. So, AD, I'm looking at my camera. You look at yours right there. Adrian Scott. We have someone here, you know what I'm saying? Reason.
I'm free, I'm available.
Listen,
let me know.
Come on. West Coast, because we're the best coast. Let's go ahead and make that happen for Crush Groove 2024.
That part.
So, lastly, if I can, I'd like to do what's called your favorite 5.
Okay.
It's kind of like a speed round of just like things that would be of LA.
Okay.
And what would be important, your favorite thing of that subject.
Okay. My shit about to be hella biased. I'm just letting you know. It's about to be
okay.
I'm about to say. Okay.
That's what I'm looking for. Yeah. Because that's how we do. Okay. So your favorite, by the way, so every answer, like you said, is going to be biased, but it has to be West Coast related. Okay.
Okay, cool. Gotcha.
So your favorite food spot.
Favorite 5 food spots. So Louisiana and Carson, that's the best Louisiana that they have in LA, period. The Orleans and York in Carson, which I know isn't only specific to LA, but it is in LA, and that's a thing. There's a taco truck. I forget what the name of the taco truck is, but it's off of, I want to say, Pico and La Brea, if I'm right.
Ooh.
Yeah, don't quote me if I'm wrong, but it's like 2 tacos.
Oh, no, it's
you know what I'm talking about?
Venice.
Okay, so you know, it's Venice. Okay, so exactly. Yeah, there we go. Exactly. So so
I got you.
I always just stumble upon it when I'm drunk. Like I don't even know. It's like my drunk spirit takes me there because I don't know where I'm going, but then I just drive and then it's
yourself
like,
at Leo's.
I just find myself at Leo's. This is more of like a recent favorite. It's a spot called Sky's Gourmet Taco.
On Pico as well.
Okay, yeah, exactly. So Sky's is fire. And last but not least, that's tough. I would probably say, there's a spot. I don't know if they're still on the same spot in Carson. It's a seafood spot. I want to say it's called like Triple X or something like that, but it's a seafood spot, and they make these big like seafood plates where they got the crab, the lobster, the shrimp, and it's smothered in all the stuff that'll probably kill you in 20 years. But it's like we here today. You know what I mean? So that'll probably be like my favorite 5 though.
Facts. Okay. Yeah. So with this one, I just need one. What's your favorite freeway?
My favorite freeway? Oh, that's so tough because I hate them all.
Like the one that doesn't have the most traffic.
My favorite one would probably be the 110 just because I got the express. And so it's not as bad, you know what I mean? But yeah, I hate all of the freeways in LA, like literally every single one of them.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I get you. Yeah. Now we're going to come back and bring it full circle to your top 5 favorite West Coast artists.
Top 5 favorite West Coast artists. Kendrick Lamar at 1. Snoop. Boogie. Ice Cube. And honestly, he just kind of crept into my top 5. Tyler.
Oh.
Yeah, I've been going on this crazy binge of Tyler for the last 5 or 6 years. I know he's been around way longer than that, but he's kind of crept into my top 5 since then. Yeah,
he's a really nice guy too.
Yeah, I haven't met him. I would love to meet Tyler because he seems super, super cool. Yeah, for a long time, J-Rock was at that 5th spot, but Tyler's kind of, sorry, Rock, Tyler's kind of crept. Yeah, he's kind of crept his way into that top 5. But it might change when Rock drop his next album.
Exactly.
Yeah,
and y'all do Crush Groove 2024 together. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly. Everything,
Rock, I got you.
It might end up changing. So yeah.
Absolutely. I used to work at the Serving Spoon in Inglewood.
Fire.
And Tyler was a frequent, guest there. And when I tell you, he was outside everyone else. He didn't have an entourage. I mean, as friends,
of
but
course,
he didn't have.
It would just have the homies, but it's not like he just got
He is just he himself, and he's definitely a good person. if you can tell me anything about what's going on with your upcoming projects, where do you see yourself in the next 5 years?
Yeah.
Like, just as far as Reason, the person, however you want to answer that.
Yeah.
What would it be?
So starting recent this year, like my goal is to get out at least 2, potentially 3 projects this year. I'm pushing. My next album is almost done. I'm working on a collab album with Kaz that we're trying to put out at the end of this year, and then I want to sneak out like a summer LA album in that time where it's like I won't even promote it or nothing like that. I'll just like drop it. Yeah, no, I want to. That's literally what I just want to drop it. And I want to just have like all the West Coast like LA artists that I love listening to in the summer, the Beanos, the Blast, the Blue Bucks Clan, the Gorilla Stones. It's this new up-and-coming artist. His name is Mark Lux, Dirty Dale. It's a lot of artists. So I just want to flood it with that, and I just want to put it out. I don't want to think too much. I don't want to overthink it. I just want to drop it, put a couple videos out. So that's my goal, is to get those 3 albums out, but at bare minimum, my joint and then the one with Kaz. So that's for this year. And then I also want to in the next like 5 years, I just see myself like I want to put out way more music. I feel like I've been way too slow with that, but I also want to become kind of like a gatekeeper for the West. Like I want to be a bridge for up and coming artists to quote unquote being in the industry. I hate saying that because it makes it seem like if you're not already at this point, you're not doing anything. But I want to kind of create that bridge and be able to be somebody that up and coming artists can really, really lean on. And then I also want to be able to start my own. I don't like saying the word label; it has a negative connotation to it. But like my own collaborative. Like I want to sign my own artists. I want to build out my own roster of people that I just love their music, and I just want to like create dope moments. I want to do like what I grew up like. I grew up on like the BT ciphers where Kanye pulled up with good music, and they all were like, I want to pull up with my collaborative to the BT cipher. I want to pull up to Sway with my collaborative or artists. I want to throw my own show or festival with my artists. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like the goal in the next 3 to 5 years, to be able to build something like that out.
Well, I definitely see it happening. Make sure you bring your whole crew to Sundays in LA. Okay?
I got you.
And I thank you so very much for coming.
I appreciate you for having me.
Yes.
Thank you. Yeah.
You guys, we are all set. That has been 935 K-Day Hip Hop back in the day.